Hey everybody, welcome back to Today Talk, and I'm doing this while I'm driving too, but I wanted to talk to you guys today about the battle over the self, the conflict that defines us all in our day-to-day lives, whether it's about a minuscule problem that we may consider a problem, or just a large problem that's defined most of our lives. And so I'm talking about with this with you guys, and there's my dogs right there. Say hi, guys. But I'm talking about this with you guys today because I just kind of had a mini conflict with my mom about this, and I kind of felt it from her energy. But our mini argument kind of was defined by, like, I haven't taken this stupid little seat thing that I'm supposed to return because I got a new car recently. I'm supposed to take this this headrest back to the plant for my old car, and yeah, so we had this little scenario. Well, you didn't take it out earlier enough, or you didn't do this, and I've done this. Look at all this stuff I've done for you, and you haven't done enough for me, and you don't do anything. You do it for yourself. And so it's this mini conflict about the challenge over interest and who's done what, and you're questioning your motives, and it's coming to a place of it comes from a place of creating conflict, creating shame with yourself, and then figuring out, does that work? Like, does that fix the problem? Well, in my mind, it does not. And I'm not belittling my mom. I'm just bringing that up as an example. But I'm making this video because I was inspired by that scenario over the importance or the value of the conflict with the self, battling yourself, figuring out, am I doing this right? I mean, it's great to do that at certain points in your life. It's great to question yourself, question your belief system, as I've talked about, open-mindedness, question the way you think. But when you do that, it comes from a place of, hey, I'm trying to help myself, not just battle myself and beat myself into the earth somehow, figuring out, oh, that's going to solve the issue, just like beating yourself down so much. And so that's how my not just speaking for my family, but how my parents were raised and how my family runs on that kind of type of energy. And that's what I grew up with, and that's kind of why I got into this stuff, and that I had to evolve and become accepting of myself rather than continuously battling myself all the time, sitting there, did I do this right, or is this correct, or this person, this and that, and blah 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 blah, kind of this egoic thinking that I always talk about. So the battle over the self, is it helpful? In my mind, it is not. When you can continue, there's, as I was saying, there's certain ways to question yourself and certain ways to figure out if you're doing it right, and that's great. That's great to do that from time to time. Just sit yourself down, just be with yourself a little bit, think, am I doing this correctly, or am I going the right way in my life? But that comes from a side of wanting to be helpful with yourself, rather than just sitting down and it's like going to war with yourself, like battling yourself, like, oh, you dumb fucking asshole, or just this war within yourself. And that's how most people live, especially very angry people. A lot of very angry, stressed out people are always at war with themselves. Like, you can look at someone like Donald Trump with all this madness going on in the news. That could be somebody that possibly maybe at war with himself all the time, or just because creating all this conflict, creating all this chaos. Can never be. Some people just can't be at a certain point where they can just sit and be okay with things. They have to always be at war, always be at conflict with themselves. Am I doing it right? No, you're not. And it's creating this divide. And that's why I said conflict of interest, creating these two different sides of interest, rather than unifying both together and working toward the common good of the right direction for your life and the right way you should approach the world, rather than creating this divide and conflict interest within yourself. And so I was never the type of person that was very, like mad. I was always at war with myself, but I never really took it on other people. I was always kind of inwardly kind of insecure, and that's how I always how I approach life. And so some people can take that battle that they have with themselves, so they can take it on other people, or they can take it out, or most predominantly on themselves or their loved ones or whatever. And so, And so this battle of the self really defines most people's lives, and it can be more dominant in their lives, or it can be incredibly dominant. And that's why you might see a very destructive person. you might know someone that's incredibly destructive. Maybe you are that person. But someone that has a very destructive personality, because they're always at war with themselves. They can't be okay with the now. They can't be okay with what's going on in their life, just accepting who they are and then moving forward. They must always be in conflict. They must always be battling themselves and creating new issues, Like, look at this guy. This guy's, okay, thank you for stopping. Creating new issues with yourself and creating new issues with other people. Well, you did this to me, and you owe it to me, and I'm blah, 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 blah. And then in the end, you're dead. And then, all those problems you've made in your life, all those problems that you created, were they worth it? Anyways, that didn't make a lot of sense. Oh, no, it did. But, yeah, and so, you can live your life like that, just continuously at war, continuously at battle with yourself. And, at certain moments, you might think you're right. You may think, I know everything, and that guy's a fucking asshole, and he did this. And I say it like that because that's the energy behind it. It's a very insecure energy. It is a very frustrated energy. And that's why I talk the way I talk sometimes. I try to deliver that because I'm so passionately against it. Passionately against that kind of behavior. Just like this real dirty, real nasty energy. And that's where a lot of a lot of crazy people or a lot of people might commit violence against somebody. They have so much of this crazy, manic energy, this crazy, insane kind of energy that it's like they crumple it up and they don't take responsibility for themselves. They go, and then it just BAM! And then you hit, and then that's where domestic violence may come in certain marriages, or maybe even murder. Someone just gets so pissed off that they shoot somebody, and then they kill them, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't mean to do it." Well, yeah. Well, it was just kind of instant It wasn't premeditated, but it was just instant, kind of in the moment, thing. And that's the difference between premeditation and murder and manslaughter. Manslaughter, well, it varies. So people that are constantly at battle with themselves, constantly at war. And I'm not going to really look at you anymore. I apologize. But people that are constantly at battle with themselves, constantly at war with who they are, and creating this endless chaos. And most people don't want to be around that kind of person because it's just so annoying, and it's just endless drama, endless this, endless that. I'd rather be around somebody that's comfortable with themselves, and they don't make something a huge issue. And yeah, and so that can be the result of someone being incredibly at war with themselves, constantly creating these two different interests. I like to say splitting your personality, and it's kind of the fight between ego maybe and the self, or just certain personalities you might have. Well, you need to be doing this, Jim, or no, you need to be doing this, but sit it or do this and you'll be okay, or do this and you'll be I don't know. It's like the battle of interests, your own self-interest, these different things that might appeal to you in different ways. And one side might say don't do that, and then if you don't listen to that one, then you'll feel shame. But, yeah. And so, the way to really end that kind of endless shit that is just stupid is to unify yourself. Stop, as I said in the past, stop judging yourself, stop spending so much time, self-doubting and, am I doing it right? And that's really, for me, the cause of suffering in most people's lives. They spend so much time questioning themselves rather than accepting who they are and unifying their forces together and then addressing what they might consider their issues, rather than just continuously conflicting within themselves and battling themselves and just running amok and causing destruction, emotional destruction within themselves. You see these people walking around that might have hair falling out, or like some of these hobos or whatever, some of these unfortunate people that might, just haven't had a lot of opportunities, maybe are on drugs. You see their hair falling out, and they're just so consumed by stress and worry and just all this stuff. And it's just like, take a break, man. They might be dealing with maybe they have an abusive partner, or just have are very poor or something, but give yourself a break, man. Life's too short to be sitting there battling yourself day in and day out it's you're in the fucking Normandy D-Day invasion, hitting the beaches. That's what it's like for some people, just like that. It's just this divide, this tear within themselves, and it's just fire back and forth, bam, 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 bam. And so, say if you're someone like that, or you know somebody like, well, maybe sit down with them, or if it's with yourself, sit down with yourself and just say, hey, you know what? It's all right. I'm gonna be all right. Or hey, you're gonna be fine, Susie, or whatever their name might be. Hey, you're gonna be all right. Just take a seat. You know, maybe I did this, or maybe that person made a mistake. You know, but it's okay. Everyone's still here. You know, you know. In my case, to my mom, I'm taking the headrest there. I'm taking the headrest. It's 3:30. Sorry if I didn't do it an hour and a half ago. I'm taking the headrest right now. You know, it's not the end of the world that I didn't take the headrest, you know, an hour and a half ago. But, anyways, when we're referring to very destructive personalities, to conclude about this, yeah, if you're someone like that, or you know, maybe you're vaguely something, like you don't have it to an extent to where you're just destroying everyone's lives, but say you're destroying your emotional health within yourself, and you're treating yourself like you're your worst enemy, I say, hey man, give yourself a break. You're going to be all right. You know, maybe something did happen. Maybe that person did something to you, or maybe this is going on in your life. You know, I'm sorry. You know, just give yourself a break, love and accept yourself, and then go forward and address the issue, whatever that issue might be. Maybe you have a loved one that's dying. Just, you know, be there for them. Do your best to support them, and support yourself too. You know, and this is your life. This is nobody else's life. This is your own life. Feel what you need to do in that moment, and feel what you need to do in the moments that come. Feel unified. All those forces in yourself that might be battling each other will unite. And they won't create enemies. Like, you won't create certain like parts of you that you might hate or something, and that you say, no, I can't do that. And, you know, creating this conflict. Well, just all those parts, accept them. And trust me, everything will work out for the best. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and please like and subscribe below, and I appreciate the support so far, and thanks guys, thanks for watching.